Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool. Really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately. Because time lost is brain lost.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phalen, a weekly program here on LSN Television, Channel 9, Time Warner, right here in Lancaster, and also on 90.9 FM, WFCO Radio. Do appreciate you, the listeners and viewers, each and every week. It's a program that we've had on the radio for, wow, about 9 years, and on television for about the last 6 or 7 months. And it's a time that we get to tell you about things going on within the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office and within Fairfield County. Back by popular demand, second week in a row, is Detective Andy Robberts. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Sheriff.
Yeah, and do appreciate you being here with us. And senior detective in the Detective Bureau, worked about any number of cases over the last, how many years? 15, 16 years?
Total of 17 years at the office.
Yeah. So is there any kind of investigation as a detective that you haven't worked?
No.
So you've done the homicides, the robberies, the bad checks, the burglaries, the vandalisms, the organized crime stuff,
Yep.
and all those kind of things.
Yep.
Yeah, done them all.
Yeah.
Now, before we came on the air, you're kind of like a movie star here.
I wouldn't go that far.
But you were in a major motion picture, right? A few years ago.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about that.
It was a while ago. The movie was called A Better Way to Die. There's just a couple pieces in there where I was in there along with a couple other members of the office.
So it was supposed to be law enforcement related?
Cops chasing bad guys type movie. It's exactly what it was. We were in uniform.
Okay.
But yeah.
And who were the actors?
Lou Diamond Phillips, Natasha Henstridge. The guy that was doing the movie was a guy actually from Newark, Scott Wiper.
Uh-huh.
He's the one that directed the movie and was actually the star of the movie.
So did you get to meet the stars and everything?
Yep.
So what was your part in this movie?
Just a deputy chasing the bad guys.
Running after him and those kind of things?
There's a scene where we were running through the woods, a scene where we were running down the streets. I believe that was Gloucester, Ohio, is where that was. And then a scene at a residence where supposedly he had went through the house and we missed him. He went out the back door, so that's the way that was set up.
So did you end up seeing the movie?
Yeah.
Do you still have a copy of it?
I actually have copies of it. Well,
That's
sure.
good. That's good.
Sure.
I think about being in this business a long time, able to meet people. The one person that comes to mind that I was able to meet is when I was a Columbus policeman. I was Bob Hope's bodyguard when he was at the Ohio State Fair.
Yeah.
So he got to the fair. We met him at the fair, and behind the stage, he was dancing with his wife before they went on. So that was a lot of fun. And then the other thing, although I wasn't involved directly with this, but a number of my police officer friends were. They actually took care of Robert Redford when he did Brubaker.
Oh wow!
And they shot a scene at the I think it was a Hilton Hotel out on Hamilton Road that time. And they went ahead and they watered down the whole parking lot with hoses to make it look like it was raining. And they said that he had one scene where he got out of a car and walked into the Hilton, and they said they probably shot this 7 or 8 times. Just getting out of the car and walking in, redoing it over and over again.
Yeah,
so
you see a lot of that.
Yeah. Now, some other things going on that we probably need to touch on is there was a a major investigation in Bremen, and it was a very unusual case. It made the television stations, and it had a lot of notoriety. Tell us a little bit about what that was.
The Bremen case was the labor-only shop. Actually, still working the case, so there's not a whole lot I can say, but I'll add in what is in the report and what have you. We had several people from the Bremen area that used the labor-only shop, who was being ran by, well, the guy actually used a different name, but his name was Sean Spencer.
And that was, when you say labor only, it was an
auto shop.
Auto shop.
Auto mechanic shop, correct.
Okay.
Where people had taken their vehicles in there to be worked on, and then unfortunately the vehicles were either given to someone else or was crushed, is what we're finding out. Anyway, as the case progressed, we discovered that he was arrested actually in one of the vehicles in Douglas County, Georgia. One of our victims that had taken their vehicle in to be worked on there at the labor-only shop. He was still driving that vehicle around, and was arrested for receiving stolen property and using false information in Douglas County, Georgia. So he's currently still in Douglas County, Georgia.
So people actually took their cars in to get them repaired at this auto shop.
Right.
They came to get their cars, and they're all gone.
Correct.
Wow. And how many cars?
I know we've got 2 recovered, and I think there's still about 5 missing.
Okay, so you have about seven cars and
7 to 8 total. Yeah.
total, and many other victims were he taking money to get batteries and different things.
Correct. Batteries, tires, different things like that.
This is pretty unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, when you think he was there, what, about 6 months, if I remember correctly? It was a long.
It was about 6 months to a year that he was occupying that shop.
And that's kind of tough because you have a local guy in the village. Who would ever think that they would be doing something like this?
And I mean, working on everybody's vehicle. A lot of people did get their stuff back. He had to do a little bit.
To get started.
Yeah, to get started and to continue to make money. Also, just a little bit more on that. He was arrested in Douglas County, like I advised. Kannapolis, North Carolina also has a report, which I have a copy of, that states basically the same type incident in Kannapolis, North Carolina, and they have warrants out for it.
So this guy has done this before, obviously, at least one other time that we know of, maybe more.
Correct.
And professional con guy come in and do those kind of things. And the question is, how can someone protect themselves? And I mean, I know there's no easy answer to that.
Yeah, there isn't an easy answer to that. I mean, you take your vehicle to a shop and hope that, your vehicle's going to be fixed and returned to you. This shop, from what I understand, didn't have a Visa card machine.
Okay.
If the shop just looks like some rinky-dink place, don't take it there. Take it to somebody that's well-known.
Maybe get some references from some folks.
References from folks, different things like that. If they look established, they've got everything they need to be established, and they're probably established. It's not going to be a situation like this. Very rare situation. Matter of fact, one of the first times I've ever seen anything like this. So.
And I'm not so sure anybody anywhere has heard anything quite like that. I mean, when the reporters that I talked to out of the Columbus media, they had never heard of anything like this before.
Correct.
I guess a person could also check with the Better Business Bureau.
Most definitely.
References, but who would ever dream in a little village where you've got a guy that's setting up a place to work on cars that all of a sudden you show up one morning and your car and the whole business would be gone.
And from what I've talked about with the victims, I mean, that's basically the way it was. They're driving by one day and their car's sitting in the parking lot to be fixed, and the next day they drive by and there's, the day before there was 8 cars, now there's nothing. It's an empty parking lot. So.
Now, he also took money up front, which would be kind of odd too.
Correct.
So
most shops don't do that. Most shops, you take your car there.
You get a written estimate, those
Correct.
kind of things.
You get an estimate. They give you, some kind of estimate, and then you go back later to pay the bill, and you receive a bill.
Right. So anyway, he's in custody, and will we be bringing him back here to Fairfield County for charges eventually?
The case is at the prosecutor's office to be charged at this time. So just
okay.
waiting that process.
Now, certainly during the last few years, we have had some budget reductions within the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. The Detective Bureau has been about cut in half what it was when you were started there a number of years ago. So that makes it a little bit tougher, more cases, those kind of things. And what happens, because certainly, we can't have detectives 24 hours, 7 days a week. What happens if there's some major crime, if there's some bank robbery, there's some homicide, there's some big arson? How is that handled? Because we know you guys can't work 24/7.
Right. What happens is of course, the call goes to our dispatch center. They all know about it. They're going to contact us, and we're going to go on call. Our call at the sheriff's office between 4 detectives right now is we do it by week. We go on at 8 o'clock on Friday, and we go off call the following Friday at 8 o'clock.
And when you say off call, that means you're available to be called at home, and then you respond directly from home, right?
Correct. And of course, that's 24/7. Whoever's on call, you're working pretty much all the time. Any phone calls, a lot of the guys will have questions or different things like that on stuff, and they'll contact us. Most of that goes through our sergeant, of course, but if they can't get a hold of him, then they contact the on-call detective.
And how many active cases do you have at any given time?
Active cases right now, we're probably averaging anywhere from 20 to 25.
Yeah, that's tough to keep up with, isn't it?
And when I say active cases, that's inactive too. We have different statuses that we place on cases, but even the inactive cases, you still have to currently, work and keep an eye out in case something develops.
Now, you do a lot of investigations on home burglaries.
Home burglaries, thefts, as I advised, anything that's a felony, we're going to be working in some misdemeanors.
Yeah. So what are some things that a citizen can do to help protect their home? And I know that's, most people work during the day, they're not home. So what can citizens do to help protect their home?
Double check your doors, make sure they're locked. Talk to your children, make sure they're locking the doors. If they're there, they're going to be the last one to leave the home. Make sure that they know to secure the home when you go. Check your windows. I know in the summertime people like to open their windows. If you can get by with it, most people are using air conditioning. If you can get by with it and you want to open your windows to air out your home, try the second floor windows. Or if you're going to be there, then it's okay on the bottom floor, but make sure you secure them.
So that'd be at night too when you're asleep, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Another good idea for that is if you do want your windows open, make sure they only open to about 6 inches. Take a dowel rod. If you don't have the capabilities on some windows, they have a bracket that'll come down and block the window so that it can't raise anymore. But go cut a couple dowel rods and put them in the side of the window there. That way when somebody does try to open the window, it's only going to go open so far, and at 6 inches, most people's not going to be able to crawl through there. Camera systems, DVR systems.
And that's relatively inexpensive today, isn't it?
They're pretty inexpensive today. Most of your local hardware stores here in Lancaster carry some type of DVR system, and basically what that consists of is a small hard drive system that goes through either a camera that you can, or a television that you can buy with the system, or through your own, or through your computer. A lot of those now have a disc that have the capabilities. If you're at work and you have the camera on at home, you can type in a password and be able to sit and watch your home at work with these DVR systems. So yeah, you can get those right here locally.
Well, that's a great idea. I had a friend that has a home in Florida, and he lives in the Pickerington area, and so he just brings up his home in Florida, and he can see the interior, the exterior of his house, and kind of monitor right from here.
Yeah. See if he needs anything done, and there's a lot of people around here who do have homes in Florida that can be doing it.
And it'd probably be a good time too to let our viewers and listeners know if they're going to be going on vacation, make sure you call the sheriff's office. We have a vacation watch. That's our most popular program. Talk to a trusted neighbor, let them know you're going to be gone, get the newspapers, get the mail stopped, make sure the house appears that there's someone around. Maybe it's good to even leave the car in the driveway when you're gone.
Correct.
All those kind of things.
Let the neighbor have a key to it so it can be moved every once in a while.
Well, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
If we have a big snow, it'd probably be a good idea to have somebody kind of shovel a little area out to make it appear somebody's around.
Mow the yard. Make sure the bushes are trimmed. I've had several interviews before where people are looking for those places.
Yeah.
You know, the guys out here that's doing the burglaries and the robberies, they're looking for those individuals that's not doing that. When it comes to burglaries, just to touch on this a little bit, if somebody's knocking at your door, make sure you check the door. The guys that we're talking to are saying if nobody's answering the door, we're kicking it in. So make sure you're at least letting somebody know you're inside the home.
Yeah, say I'm busy,
Right.
you know, go away, or I'm, you know.
Leave the door shut and holler out.
Yeah, because if you didn't answer the door, and that was kind of some like advice they might have given people years and years ago. You're home, you don't answer the door, they don't think anybody's in. They break in, and then all of a sudden you have a confrontation with a homeowner in the house, which can be very dangerous.
Yeah, gets twice as worse at that point.
Yeah. Well, we're out of time, and I appreciate you being with us the last couple weeks, Detective Roberts, and you continue to do a good job. I appreciate you, and certainly we talked about last week. You have your brother and your sister-in-law and your wife's all with the sheriff's office, so it's kind of a family affair.
Yep.
Well, the clock on the wall says it's time to go, and do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, and the folks at LSN TV, Channel 9, Time Warner, and also 90.9 FM, WFCO Radio. They give us the opportunity within the sheriff's office to have a program each and every week to share with you things going on within the sheriff's office. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless. Buckle up if you're out there driving, and we'll see you here next week.
Ready to go?
Yeah, but the fire's not out.
Close enough.
Close enough? If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. I mean, the next thing you know, you've torched our whole neighborhood.
Which is why we're not going anywhere?
Exactly. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.